I think we're on. It's
Hello.
Wednesday, and here we are.
Happy New Year.
Happy getting there. Happy countdown to a goodbye year. Bye-bye.
One more day.
We've been around for a few years, and this one, I think, in our lifetime, it definitely takes the cake.
It's way out there.
So, it's awfully hard when you think of, what we're trying to accomplish by way of being positive. How do we set the stage for positivity? Those of us who are leaders and those of us who are trying to inspire others. And I think it's if there's any takeaway from all of that, it's been the year of listening.
It's been a year of patience as well. I mean, it's so difficult to get to anything done.
Yeah.
By the time you get there, it's already changed.
Because what we've seen with our work that we've certainly shared before, when you combine all of these pieces to the discussion, like how does this year, for example, certainly it's been the trend of the year was it required a lot of innovation. So as a leader, to look for that in teams and look for that in yourself is certainly important. And as we think about how that impacts the career journey, what are some aspects of career development, personal development that we need to include that help people enhance innovation?
Well, I think for the first time in history, in interviews, I've heard that there are companies that are asking people how they feel about working remotely.
Yeah.
As little as a year or two ago, if somebody brought up the wanting to work remote or wanting flexibility and wanting to have those kinds of freedoms, it was almost looked as looked down upon. This year, it's become something that is seen as an enhancement. You're comfortable working remotely, and you know what you're doing. You know how to get on Zoom or StreamYard or whatever the technology is. I mean, everybody's starting to learn how to do it, and there are actually companies that are favoring people that are comfortable with that.
And I think what we should plan for coming up in the next couple of weeks is to wear our new T-shirt that says "Scrappy is the new perfect."
That's true. That's true.
That it's so important because this idea of being scrappy versus perfection is definitely the way, because the trend for 21 and some of the research that we've done so far is that we're going to start to see opportunities. That's going to be the key word. So the opportunity, the darkness is going to be lifted. Scrappy is the new perfect. And
I think the other word I'd use is with teams, it's scrummy.
Yeah.
And we're going to be getting together in brief scrums, work with a team here, work with a team there, get things done, move on to the next team. We're going to have that kind of flexibility and what's the word I'm looking for? Agility.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Scrum concept we've been talking about for a long time, and it certainly is a great way to look at how things will work with teams and leaders, masterminds, the evolution more online of mastermind work. And I was talking with a client, a female client the other day, and she said she was looking forward to in 21 having more opportunities to either it's mastermind or group coaching, work with other women, because she, in her role, she's around so many men that she'd like the input from women and then be able to go back and look at the opportunities in a different way.
Yeah, so I think something else we're going to see is a lot more pod orientation. I can remember when we first introduced the idea of pods with our kids were in grammar school. They were starting to work in pods, and I think it was a good idea because that's the way the world is working now. Is people are finding smaller pods to work together to get things done, working with collaborative software I think that's been another major change. Is everybody's up to starting to use Google Docs and other types of collaborative software, because it's not like send it, get it back, send it, get it back. It's working on it simultaneously.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we decided to do leading up to the close of this crazy year is to offer daily input. That was a 12-day countdown. Thank you, Dave, for coming up with that brilliant idea. 12-day countdown, and each day had a different topic to it. So I think what's interesting is, and the focus, as we said, for today's is based on all of these 12. We started to see a real uptick in viewing on this one. 3 quick ways to boost self-esteem. So that was just today. So we have 2 more days left. So I don't know what they're going to be, but we're starting to see a trend in topics around stress management. And this was a very popular one. And I think it's because of how we see ourselves. So how do we, another topic was, how do we talk to ourselves when we're talking to ourselves? So there's a lot of conversation that that self-talk sometimes trips us up. But one of the things that came out of our research and the article that we shared with people about what are the three quick ways, number 1 was practice your spirituality. And I think it's interesting to talk about spirituality because everybody has his or her different view of what spirituality is. It could be a purpose. It could be a religion. It could be a mindset. But some of the pieces that fall under practice your spirituality are meditate. Number 1, that's certainly a way to connect with your inner self, which is it's certainly your own internal spirituality, if you will, and that quiet space. I know when we do the nightly meditation that we picked up since the kickoff of COVID, it's been a habit that is just something I look forward to wrap up the end of the day. And in that meditation, it's on the Calm app. What I love about what she says, it's the same meditation. I like to do it every night, but she says, don't force yourself to sleep, just breathe. And I think that's really, really interesting. Read some messages that give you some inner direction. Share what you're thinking. Sometimes those of us in my world, I'm very blue in terms of the Berkman information, the assessment that we use, which means I think about things a lot, and therefore, doesn't everybody else know what I'm thinking about? No, they don't. So I need to share that. So don't be afraid to embrace who you are and what your beliefs are, I think is so important. And then this one, the number 2, I thought this was really interesting. It's something, you like this one too.
Yeah, well, it's easy to overlook because you're in such a rush to try and get things done, or we automatically focus on what's not done or what's not done well, because we're always constantly trying to get things to be better, which is a noble, disposition. But I think we have to take more time to appreciate what we have actually accomplished. We've accomplished a lot in the last couple of months. It's easy to overlook, but I mean, it's huge. Excuse me.
Yep. And I think when you think about appreciate your accomplishments, what I really like about this is something that we've offered in terms of working with clients, which is the ability to lay out what your successes have been, what your, maybe it's a problem, maybe it's taking a look at what were the action steps that were taken and what were the results. It doesn't always have to be something that was done perfectly. But when you do that,
it was even planned. I mean, it might have been something that was an innovative moment where we came up with something completely new. We've done that a couple of times and said, wow, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yep, exactly. So, and then the other third quick step is to cultivate social support. It goes back to what I just said, which is about, I think, therefore it's done. Well, I think that I need to share with other people, have other people give their input. If I have an idea, what is it that it could be done differently? Is it something that's a good approach, and go forward with it? You may, I get a lot of support from, I have a large family of siblings and get support from them. Certainly friendships, and especially when we look at how do we cultivate social support in a time where we're isolated. But there are ways. I know at worklifeonline.com, our website, we try to include people into the mix of conversation. And what we did for Christmas, for example, we celebrate Christmas holiday, and we had our Zoom room open for the entire day. We did the same thing for Thanksgiving. And it was really fun. It was kind of like, I remember you said the next morning you got up and you said, "Isn't everybody here?"
I definitely had the feeling like I had been together with everybody, and I realized, well, wait a minute here. It was just a Zoom meeting that we were in and out of during the day, but I've really started to walk away from these, like this Zoom meeting right now with you. I feel like I'm connected, and
Yeah.
it's an odd sensation because there's no scratch and sniff here. There's no actual being in the same room necessarily. But it's just as impactful.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a great way to, reach out, connect with people. And what we like to say our purpose is, not only for 2021, but certainly as we move forward into this next year, is to help you reset, help you look for those opportunities, and see what is it that I could take advantage of. What is it that I need to feel like my self-esteem is in check and is heading in this way as opposed to that way.
Yeah, well, I like all of the words: reset, rethink, reinvent, renew, refresh, restore. I mean, there's a whole series of them. I think we could use any one of them. It's a year for solutions, not just resolutions, but solutioning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's and I think some of the topics that you chose for the 12-day countdown, that those are key topics around stress management, around talking to yourself, around self-esteem, as we're talking about today, and all of these sort of boil up to giving you a nice start for 21, because ultimately, as we've shared before, our mission is to help you with what keeps you up at night, because that's what gets us up in the morning. And as we move into 21, I think this will certainly be a key phrase that we'll be thinking about as we look at how we can help everybody in our inner sanctum, in our circle. And we appreciate you listening and participating and joining us for these broadcasts. We do them every Wednesday, either 4:30. We might mix up some times every now and then, just to throw everybody off a little bit, ourselves included. And feel free to join our list at worklifeonline.com, or click here on Facebook. You can, or I think on, if you're watching on YouTube, the same way, there's a sign up form. And we'll be happy to send you information as we send out weekly information broadcasts and so forth. So happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, let's move on to 2021, and we look forward to seeing you. Yes.
Well, that one's over. Almost.
Bye, everybody.